Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, and I'm your host, John June. Happy Wednesday. It's the day before NFL season opener. I got my guy Greg Penniman with me.
Got to put the chain up for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Greg, what is up, bro? What's good, man?
Excited for sure. Tomorrow, week one, NFL season begins. You start to hear the chatter around work and everything. I'm over here looking at these survivor picks so I could put in some survivor picks for week one. The start of the NFL season, it's an event, like definitely, because football is the shortest season. So it's the next 20, 21 weeks is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, definitely gonna be crazy. Excited for Thursday night football, excited for the season opener. Definitely cannot wait to sit back and watch football that actually matters and root for players in our fantasy lineup. Our fantasy lineups, depending on how many teams you have, how many rosters you have. I know that the contingent that is Fantasy Football Diagnostics has a lot between the two of us. So,
I mean, yeah, majority over here. Oh, over here, yeah. Let me swing it over. I always want to know the number every year if it surpasses your record.
I just stopped counting. I stopped counting at this point because I'm not trying to deal with that.
Yeah.
All right. As we always do on our Thursday night football previews, we got to give out some streams of the week here.
Sure.
And then we're going to break down some Thursday night football and rules for streams of the week. They must be less than 50% owned or rostered on in Yahoo leagues. And that's really it. Like if they're 50%, they're fair game at that point. So definitely excited to get into this because, like we said, streaming quarterbacks. It's kind of where we hope to make our money. And looks like me and Greg are trying to make some money in the same place this week. So, Greg, who's your quarterback stream of the week?
You got to go with a guy that we're big on, my sleeper of the year at the quarterback position, famous Jameis Winston. He's going against the Atlanta Falcons. He's 46% rostered, so he's right under that threshold. But yeah, definitely after this week, I think a lot of teams are going to be adding him just for a good, solid quarterback, even as a backup quarterback on your roster. He's very solid. I mean, the last year numbers were kind of crazy. I mean, in the 7 games he started, he had a 8.7% touchdown percentage. It's really high for Jameis. 1.9% interception percentage, so super low for a quarterback like him. The system works for him. Small sample size, but I see no reason why he can't get not to the 8.7, but that's similar numbers as far as keeping those interceptions low and getting good touchdowns, getting good touchdown opportunities. And he has a better targets now. He has Michael Thomas back. That should only help him. Against Atlanta, Saints are favored to win, so they're going to be using Kamara. They're going to be using Michael Thomas in a game that they should control. So, give me the Saints. Give me famous Jameis.
Absolutely love that. Me and you have the same quarterback stream of the week this week. That is Jameis Winston as well. I mean, I will say, I'll throw that out there. Trevor Lawrence was my number one target for the stream of the week here when his matchup against Washington, which will obviously break down tomorrow when we break down all the 1 p.m. games. And he is my sleeper quarterback of the year, but unfortunately he didn't meet the rostership criteria here for stream of the week. So Jameis Winston was who I landed on, and he's going up against Atlanta, who, you talked about the numbers of Jameis Winston last year, the 8.7% touchdown rate, the low interception rate, but he's also getting Michael Thomas back, gets a healthy Alvin Kamara to throw the football to as well. That's a plus.
Yes,
and then
sir.
the matchup here is really nice. Atlanta was not great against quarterback or just quarterbacks in general, pass offenses. Outside of AJ Terrell, they didn't really have much on the defensive side of the ball. In the secondary, at least, Grady Jarrett's still a good player, but in terms of, what he was, the defense as a whole, that, they just couldn't really defend the quarterback position. So Jameis Winston to me delivers a top 12 week. That's how I have him ranked. And locking in.
Yeah, definitely a good safe pick for people, and that's a guy you're adding to stream and then probably keeping on your roster after this week.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna ride that wave for sure. I'm not sure who they have next week, but definitely, again, like we've talked about with Jameis Winston, the weapons this offseason, or the weapons that he has in this offense, it's good recipe for a nice quarterback fantasy performance wise.
Mhm.
Greg, who's your tight end stream of the week?
I'm gonna go with deep in the bag. I'm going with Hayden Hurst versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's only 9% roster, so he's basically free out there, going a lot of undrafted in a lot of leagues. Definitely a sleeper tight end I was looking at in this, coming into the season. The Bengals, the team he plays for now. I mean, they definitely Joe Burrow. He definitely targets the tight end between CJ Uzama and Drew Sample. They had 78 targets last year. So if you're gonna give a guy like Hayden Hurst close to that number, maybe bump that up even more because he's younger, fresher than the more veteran than Drew Sample, but younger than CJ Uzama. Good tight end. That I think coming into this team, I think that bodes well for a team that's going to be good in a high explosive offense. So that could create touchdown opportunities for him. And going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, another matchup where the Cincinnati Bengals are favored in. Good recipe for success. I like Hayden Hurst. I think he's going to get some opportunities this year, close to 80 targets.
Yeah, I like the Hayden Hurst pick. I know he was somebody that we've talked about for sure. And Joe Burrow is going to target the tight end, and especially being surrounded by these receivers,
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd in the slot. I mean, you have to pick your poison there, and eventually, the tight end is going to be somebody that gets open. And Hayden Hurst is somebody that just, he was stuck behind Mark Andrews in
Hmm.
Baltimore, and he goes to Atlanta, has a decent year there, and then they draft the unicorn that is Kyle Pitts, and now
Yep.
he was stuck behind Kyle Pitts. So
Yep.
Hayden Hurst, who was a first round pick, by the way, by the Baltimore Ravens, again just happened to be beat out by his classmate third round pick Mark Andrews for the lead tight end spot. Um, yeah, I think he's definitely a good play this year, long term, especially. For me, I'm going deep in the bag too. At the time that I did my research, this man was only 2% rostered, and I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure he's
it's
has
not
not
going up.
gone. It's not going up. I'm going with Tyler Conklin. You referenced CJ Uzama, who makes a trip over to the New York Jets. But the Jets got two tight ends in free agency this year. Tyler Conklin being the other one, and by all accounts, he has been one of the best players in training camp. And the quarterbacks tend to look at him early and often. And Baltimore was not very good against the tight end position last year. They've got some new faces in their secondary, specifically at the safety spot. So let's see if they figured out how to stop the tight end position in week one. Joe Flacco, who is making a start there for the Jets. So if you're in some desperate need of some tight end help, Tyler Conklin is available, 2% of Yahoo leagues.
Yeah, gotta love that one. I mean, not surprised because he is playing for the New York Jets, but Tyler Conklin's definitely a name we brought up on the stream of the week a lot in the previous seasons.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely brought
Yeah,
him up last year. He had
yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
600-yard season in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
solid, very solid.
Got paid, so yeah, for sure. Um, let's move on. Our defensive streams of the week, Greg. Who do you have for your defensive stream of the week?
Just picked them up this morning for the Urban Outfitters. Philadelphia Eagles going against Detroit. They're 40% rostered. Mainly, this is all matchup based for when you're looking at defense. Philadelphia did make some additions on the defensive end on that D line and the secondary, but Detroit, a team that was abysmal last year on the offensive end. They still have the same quarterback, Jared Goff. They definitely have talent around Jared Goff. The offensive line hasn't improved. I think there's opportunities for Philadelphia to get a lot of sacks and get some picks on Jared Goff for sure.
Yeah, I like this one, Greg. I do have to ask you a question here on the show, live on our
Hmm.
show, because we are live now. We're a live show.
Yes,
You can
sir.
catch us 4 times a week on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Also, you can catch us in podcast platforms, where you can catch your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play. But Greg, I have to ask you this question here. We were drafting the other
Uh-huh.
night, and we were me, you, and our one of our other co-managers. It's 3-person league that we're managing here, or
Uh-huh.
3-person team. And I was mentioning, we're talking about defenses late, and we was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was saying how they're, every year I come up with this defense. And I missed last year. I didn't get one last year, but the year before that, it was the the Washington football team. And
Hmm.
the year before that, it was the San Francisco 49ers. So I have to ask you, Greg, did that conversation have anything to do with you making that transaction in the League of Extraordinary People this morning?
I can't confirm nor deny that, but I mean, yeah, it definitely you had into play. I mean, this is one of the fantasy football experts in the fantasy world right here. So, I gotta, it definitely helped out. It definitely influenced it a little bit for sure. And seeing the matchup with Detroit, yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
I mean, the matchup with Detroit is juicy for week
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
like I
yeah.
like the stream,
But if
but
we could, if this is a season long pickup, then that's even better. Like that's even better. Get it for free. Don't have to use no auction money or nothing like that.
oh man, I like that one, man. I like it. I didn't like the transaction. I sent you some mean words via text message as soon as I saw that. I got the alert from Yahoo. I was very upset. Um, but my defensive stream of the week. Wow, I haven't even been putting these up. Greg's
Oh,
mine.
it's okay. Bow, 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 bow,
Bow,
bow, bow, bow, bow, bow.
my defensive stream of the week. That's going to happen a lot, I feel like, this year. My defensive stream of the week is the Miami Dolphins, 18% rostered in Yahoo leagues. They're favored at home and against the New England Patriots. I will say that. That's a caveat. But it's Matt Patricia and Joe Judge's first game as co-offensive coordinator for the Patriots, or whatever the hell they're doing over there, with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. Let's see how this one goes down. I mean, Miami does have a good defense. They have a good secondary. Granted, Byron Jones is going to miss the first game. Um, they've got pass rushers, Jaylen Phillips, who's up and coming in his second season. I think that there's an opportunity here. Being 2.5 point favorites at home. These offensive coordinators being offensive coordinators for the first time at the NFL level after being defensive coordinators and special teams coordinators. I'm curious to see how this one really does work out. So, yeah, Miami, fire them up.
Like it, like it for sure. When I was gonna mention, even if Philadelphia wasn't the option there, Miami is just as good. Definitely with the matchup and always a talented defense getting those interceptions.
Well, we got a question here, Greg, coming from Miles.
So
Should we drop Michael Carter for J.K. Dobbins? I think you should. I
yeah,
mean, depending on what your running back situation is looking like. I mean, I don't know, what
yeah,
the
because JK might not be ready for week one.
yeah, that's
Yep.
the problem, right? J.K. might not be ready for week one. Michael Carter will be we've talked about him before on the show. Will he be an option as the lead back potentially for the first couple of weeks for the New York Jets? I think that he will be. So with that being said, he will have volume. But again, it comes down to like who else is on your roster, what other running backs you have available. Could you pick up J.K. Dobbins and you would still have running backs to start and be okay? I would say if that's the case, then yeah, fire him up.
Yeah, completely agree. JK just season long, I think definitely has more upside. If you have the depth to take it. Again, winning week one is definitely important. For just confidence, everything. Just starting off coming out the gates 1-0. But for sure JK is going to be there all season long and for you in the fantasy playoffs.
Definitely. And something else just popped in my head, like, what if J.K. Dobbins goes to out, right? Then you could put him in it. If you have an IR
True.
spot, you can put him in the IR spot, and then you still pick up Michael Carter.
Yep.
Right, depending on your waiver and free agency rules. But appreciate the question, Miles. Yeah, definitely. If you are watching live and you have questions, throw them in the chat, and as long as time permits, we'll get to them for sure. Time to start our Thursday night preview. He says, going back to Miles, he says he's got JT, Fournette, and Akers.
Oh, yeah, he's chilling.
You're chilling.
I'm just not like a 10 team, but yeah.
Yeah, I would pick up J.K. Dobbins and drop Michael Carter for sure.
Yep.
I'm assuming that JT is Jonathan Taylor, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know any other JT worth putting an acronym for. So
right. All right, let's get into Thursday night football. And I do have to say, it's our yearly reminder. I say it every week, but I say it on this day especially because people tend to forget. Get those Thursday night players out of your flex, please.
I'm hearing it all year. Hey, it's something you got to remind yourself. It reminds us to do it. It's just a good practice for sure, man. It happens Monday night. Those guys in your RB spot, you get have the questionable tag already and listen out. You're out here starting a guy that's going to give you 0 points, so you don't want to end up in that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, tonight's probably not. With the matchup against the Bills and the Rams, this is probably not the matchup where you're overly concerned about something like this because Cooper Kupp, Stefan Diggs, Josh Allen, those guys are going to be in your QB1 slots, your wide receiver 1 slot, so on and so forth. It's really about like the Devin Singletaries and the Isaiah McKenzie's or even the Gabe Davises who might be a flex. You consider them a flex play, but if you're playing them, make sure you put them in a running back or a wide receiver slot because, like Greg was saying, you don't want to get caught with, J.K. Dobbins, for example. He's in your running back slot and he's inactive, and now you need to find a running back to put in that slot. Whereas if you know for a fact that you're going to be starting Devin Singletary in your flex, put him in your running back slot, put J.K. Dobbins in your flex spot so that if J.K. Dobbins does go out, you can at least even pick up a wide receiver or a tight end if it fancy.
Yep.
So whatever you need to do at that point, but just please get those Thursday night players out of your flex. Moving on to the game. It's been a minute since we've done it, Greg, but we've got the 0-0 Buffalo Bills traveling to LA to take on the 0-0 Los Angeles Rams. This game has a 52.5 point total according to FanDuel Sportsbook. The Buffalo Bills are 2.5 point favorites. In terms of weather, we're okay. In terms of injuries, Isaiah McKenzie, the wide receiver for Buffalo, has been dealing with an undisclosed injury, but he's back at practice now. For safety, Jordan Poyer for the Buffalo Bills, he was dealing with an injury as well, but it seems like he is on track to play. For the LA Rams, Van Jefferson's recovering from a knee injury, so it seems at this point that he's maybe questionable at best.
Oh yeah, he's listed out on my fantasy lineup. So yeah.
So if he's already been ruled out, then I missed that. These notes I typed up a little yesterday or so, so I could be having some outdated news here with him recovering from a knee injury. So he could potentially be out. I know it was leaning that way. So Ben Skromanek and Tutu Atwell, those guys probably will step up, which means
more Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
More.
And then for the Rams, Matthew Stafford has been dealing with an elbow injury. So that's been the most famous elbow in the United States all summer, Matthew Stafford's elbow. So, seems Sean McVay said the other day, I brought this up the other day. He said that his elbow is not a concern and that he could throw the ball 50 times if he had to in a game. But Greg, I see your face because it sounds like, I think I know what your face is saying, but why don't you I don't want to speak for you. So why don't you say what I think you're saying?
Oh, that coaches lie, or is that what we're saying
Yeah.
here?
Oh,
Yeah.
specifically Sean McVay.
Oh, Sean McVay. Yeah. I forgot coaches specifically. Yeah, Sean McVay is a liar. Yes, yes.
Yeah. We have this on this show, the Fantasy Football Diagnostics. We have a list of coaches who are known liars, and Sean McVay is on that list.
Yeah, he's on there.
Him,
Yeah.
Pete Carroll,
Oh, Pete
they're both
Carroll's.
in the same
Oof.
division. Yeah, they're liars.
Yeah.
They lie. It's okay. Like, we accept them for who they are, and that's okay. But we just know that when Sean McVay says Matthew Stafford could throw the ball 50 times today if I asked him to, I feel really nervous about Matthew
Word.
Stafford.
I don't think he even wants him to do that. Like, yeah, word.
So yeah, Greg, where are you at with this game in terms of the size, the totals, and the picks?
This is a tough one. I've been going back and forth up into this show as far as who's going to win the game, but I think I'm gonna go Buffalo to win, Buffalo to cover. It's 2.5 field goal game, and I'm gonna take the over. Um, Yeah, this is set up to be a great game. Just a lot of matchups, a lot of stars in this game. Just on the Buffalo side, you got Josh Allen going against that D line, Aaron Darnold, maybe specifically other people on that line. But Josh Allen, QB1 this week. You drafted him to be a top 3 guy every week. He's going to be, I think, my MVP for the season. So yeah, he's going to be a guy that's going to come in and do what he have to do, either throwing or rushing. As far as their running backs, you got Devin Singletary, you got James Cook. You got Zach Moss. We're going to see how it plays out this week. That's probably the most intriguing story for the Buffalo Bills, how those splits are going to be. I think to start, Devin Singletary will probably get touches maybe on first couple drives. I think they're going to mix in a little bit of James Cook. I think Zach Moss might be the odd man out here, but that's just what I'm feeling for this game. Stefan Diggs versus Jalen Ramsey. How's that's going to play out? Is Jalen Ramsey going to be shadowing Diggs a lot? Is Diggs going to get the opportunities he wants? So I have Diggs as a low end wide receiver 1. Just bumped down a little bit just because of the matchup with Ramsey and Dawson Knox. Man, I mean, you've got to follow the money. We talk about that. This man just got paid today. He got his money, 53.6 contract extension over the next 4 years. That's pretty good for a tight end. So yeah, I think that he's definitely utilized, especially if Stefan Diggs and Isaiah McKenzie are getting locked up in their matchups. I think that Dawson Knox is a low end tight end 1 play for this week. On the Rams side, Stafford, I have him mid-tier QB1. I have the over in this game, so both teams are going to be putting up points. Just week 1 defenses are going to be still adjusting. Cam Akers, I do like him in this matchup. Just being a solid RB2. Cooper Kupp, we talked about how Van Jefferson is out. That just bumps up the top 2 guys, Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. I think both are great plays. Of course, Cooper Kupp is top 3 every week, and Allen Robinson, I think he's definitely a top 20 play going into this week. If anything, Van Jefferson being out could help Tyler Higbee a little bit. As a guy that had 85 targets last year. It's almost about 6 a game. You're getting it from Matthew Stafford. He had over 560 yards. So Tyler Higbee is also a good streaming value as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on everything but the total. I'm taking Buffalo to cover, taking Buffalo to win. I am going to take the under. 52.5 there's a lot of points with 2 good defenses. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of just where I'm at with that. Buffalo, again, they were really good on defense, obviously. And like I said, Matthew Stafford dealing with that elbow. So how many pass attempts do we really see from
True.
him? Do they try to lean on this run game? And obviously that slows down the clock. So on the Buffalo side, it is the pass game for me. The matchup is tough, but you drafted Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs. high. Like, so you're gonna play them.
You're playing them.
You didn't draft them you didn't draft them, where you did to sit them in this matchup. So you're definitely gonna play them. Gabe Davis, he's been a hot breakout pick. I think the matchup is tough here. So he's a wide receiver 3 for me this week, but obviously we know the upside he has. So he's in my lineups unless you have a definitive second option. McKenzie, if he can go, is someone I'm into, especially given the matchup in PPR league. I mean, um, this pass rush should be after him. After Josh Allen, that should lead to maybe some shorter passes, some passes to the slot, and especially with how strong the Rams are with Jaylen Ramsey and being probably matched up with Stefan Diggs. That should allow McKenzie to make some plays. And I'm not gonna lie, man. When Dawson Knox, I saw that contract, I was like, what? Like, what? Like he was my bust, and now he's getting paid. Like that's never gonna be good for me.
Word, yo, word. I was like, oh, he got paid today. Oh man.
Yeah.
That means
so,
they want to target him. They're
yeah.
not going to pay him for nothing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, but he's tied. Obviously, if I don't have him ranked highly this week. If obviously you want to attach yourself to Josh Allen and you see a game with a high total, Buffalo's favored. Dawson Knox, you drafted him, you're gonna put him out there, but I don't have any Dawson Knox to play, so I can't really speak from that perspective. But on the in terms of the running backs, I'm with you. I think we see Singletary get mixed in. I think James Cook gets mixed in, but I do think Zach Moss gets mixed in as well. I mean, there's been a lot of positive reports about him, and he played some snaps, some snaps in the preseason with the Josh Allen led offense, and he was used as the goal line back in some of those situations. So it kind of just leads me to think this whole thing is going to be a mess. Basically the whole year. Where you could legitimately get like a 30-30-30 split with these, between these 3 guys, with like Josh Allen getting like the other 10% and like whatever 50% of the red zone stuff. So like, yeah. So on the Rams side, I'm not into Stafford this week. Again, some of the things I talked about, the Buffalo defense is good. The elbow, those kinds of things. I think Kupp has wide receiver 1 upside every week you play him. Again, the matchup's tough. They don't have Tre'Davious White, the Bills do, but they were still a good defense even after he went down. They were still able to adjust, and they drafted Kaiir Elam in the first round, and they drafted another corner high as well. So I think that the infrastructure of their defense, their safety play is going to allow them to play well against the Rams. So Allen Robinson, he's in wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 range for me. And then Cam Akers, based on everything we think we know, right? Week 1's always funny because it's like what we think we know. Like Cam Akers is the lead back, but you could get away with flexing Darrell Henderson in a pinch. McVay has talked about getting both these guys involved. Again, I keep talking about the elbow, but if that's true, then you're probably going to lean on this run game here, and you have 2 backs you probably want to use. So, I think you could get away with flexing Darrell Henderson. I would play Darrell Henderson over a Bills running back.
I agree with that totally, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so Greg, it's that time, man. You got a bold prediction for us? What's up?
I do. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen. This at least the rushing, the running back situation just being a nightmare. Josh Allen gets 2 rushing touchdowns this game. Yes, sir.
I like that. Josh Allen 2 rushing touchdowns. I could dig that. For sure. I definitely think he gets 1. For sure. I definitely think he gets 1.
He gets 1.
2 is bold. 2 is bold.
2 is bold.
My bold prediction is that Stefan Diggs and Gabe Davis combine for more than 35 PPR points.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it doesn't
Yeah.
sound Super Bowl, but given the matchup against
Yeah.
the Rams,
Yeah.
Jaylen Ramsey, I think it's I think it meets the criteria here.
Yeah. That's some touchdowns in there. That's possibly a 100-yard game in there. So yeah, that's nice.
And the best part of it is like if Stefan Diggs gets 5 points and Gabe Davis gets 31 points, I
You
still
still, yep,
win.
yep, for sure.
All right, man. So that is all we have for Thursday night. Everybody enjoy Thursday night football. Please remember, get those Thursday night football players, get those
Please.
Thursday night players out of your flex, and come back tomorrow. We'll break down all the 1 p.m. games and then come back on Saturday, and we're going to break down the rest of the slate of games, doing our starts of the week, playing some get money, having a lot of fun here. So, everybody, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribe and get those notifications so you can stay tapped in. And we'll catch y'all later. Peace.
We out.